right. Think we might be live. And we are live. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another live Q&A. Whoever is out there watching, welcome. As you can see, I am not alone tonight. I got my good buddy, Jules from Collecting with Jules. It feels like the old podcast days, man. I tell you, it feels like we haven't skipped a beat yet. But it's good to have you here, buddy. How have you been?
It's good to be here. Super excited to be back with you, bud. I've been good. I've been having a little bit of extra time, without the podcast for sure, and all the background stuff that we were doing for that and so on. But I can definitely say that I do miss it. That camaraderie we had and the questions and just chilling basically like we did with our guests too. It was super fun, but it is what it is. We move on to bigger and better things, I guess.
Yeah, well, and this is kind of a way for us to kind of get back together and share those same experiences. And we'll see if we have anybody chime in here tonight. Like I said, this is for kind of a members only Q&A. So if you're listening out there, this is being broadcast publicly, but it's only the live chat and questions that we'll be answering tonight are for channel members. So if you guys are thinking about, hey, I'd really like to get my question answered a little more in depth by PokéNav and Jules, then by all means go to the channel membership page on the PokéNav page on the YouTube channel and check it out. There's going to be a lot more things that will be kind of intangible benefits to being a member. The round tables, I plan on having people in the live chat for those so that you can ask questions to those guests as well. And just a lot of things coming down the line. So for any of you out there listening or watching right now, please feel free to join that channel membership. So until we get a question rolling in here, Jules, how about we just jump into some of these bigger things that have been going on in the Pokemon community?
Let's do it.
Does that sound all right to you? We got
Sounds
that psychic power going right now. You got all those Alakazams in the background, and I can just feel that psychic vibe. And I'm ready to jump in here. We do got Matt Garrett in the house. What is going on, Matt? Anytime that you want to drop a question to us, by all means, feel free. So, Jules, I'm gonna get a little spicy topic going here.
Spicy, I like spicy.
And you actually kind of filled me in on this earlier this week, and that was we had a little bit of a controversial video in the hobby recently. And anybody out there that's watching right now probably knows what I'm talking about. And that was Frosted Caribou had a unique video that she put out. And I'll be right up front. I thought she did a great job on it. I thought it was very well put together. I thought that she discussed a lot of interesting topics in there. But before I really jump into, my sentiment on that and exactly what I think, I'm interested to get your take. What did you think of all of that?
Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't see it right away. I'm not subscribed to her. I used to be subscribed to her. I unsubscribed. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is about her. There's something about her voice that I can't take. And pretty much I ended up watching it because I was in my Instagram. Every fourth story was something about Boo and her video that came up. So I watched it 4 days after she posted it. And I watched it. And as I watch all my videos, I watched it to make sure that I completely understand what's happening. And she broke it down very nicely, like you said. It was extremely well put together. It had the start, it had the middle, it had the end. It captivated the audience 100%. And then how she broke it down into the 4 categories: the players, the investors, the collectors, and the scalpers, basically, right? She gave them their own category now, and she put it out there. And then she didn't touch upon too much of what we all know also is taking this aspect of Pokemon collecting and buying and selling and all that stuff to the next level is that the pandemic had a huge role, and she kind of downplayed what the actual pandemic, the role it was playing in terms of it. And she was going mostly on the big influencers, but not even the big influencers, every influencer basically on YouTube, and everything having to do with the thumbnails and so on and so forth. If you guys watched it, I'm sure you guys know already. And everything is about the money aspect of Pokemon, and that's what it's become now. So I think she was good on 80% of what she said. The 20% was room to interpretation in terms of she could have just added the fact that the pandemic and the supply was playing a major role as well in the overall Pokemon industry. That's what I thought. I messaged you right away after I watched it to see if you watched it, because I know that you had a piece in there also. So she really dug deep to go get all those videos, which is kudos to her for putting that together. That must have taken a lot of time to go get all that stuff, but overall, I guess it is what it is. Sentiment that most people were feeling, and she brought it to life, basically.
Yeah, no, for sure. And before I jump into mine, just want to welcome Jake from Pallet Town back in to this live chat. What's going on, Jake? Good to have you here, buddy. You and Matt, if you guys have questions along the way, feel free to drop them in the live chat. Jules and I will answer those to the best of our ability. So I guess I'd like to give my take. As I said, I thought overall it was a good video. A lot of interesting things brought to the surface, things that we've been thinking about as a hobby as a whole. I think the problem that I had with it was, one, it really didn't encompass everything. It's really tying all, these surge in prices and the lack of product entirely to YouTubers and influencers and people pushing products onto people, pressuring them into it. And I think there is a role in that. I think there's a role that influencers like Logan Paul or even, somebody like Leonhardt can have. But here's the thing that I want people to take into consideration. Yes, maybe Logan Paul, one of the largest YouTubers, is going to have some stake in this and can have an influence in pushing prices a little bit higher. But think about this for a second. The other one that she called out was Leonhardt. Again and again and again. How long has Leonhardt how long has he been doing YouTube? For years now. Yeah. And it's only recently that all of a sudden he's got this massive influence on the market psyche, and that it's pushing prices up. I find that really hard to believe. The other thing that I found interesting and kind of hard to swallow was this kind of negative connotation around collectors even and investors. It was kind of like putting players on the top of the pedestal, and then everyone else was just kind of like it was kind of the trickle down. It's like the players, they get the most focus, they get the most attention. This is what the game was made for, and collectors and investors are just a byproduct, especially
secondary.
And secondary. And what I would say to that is, for a lot of and I kind of mentioned this in my conversation with David Person in the podcast, is for a lot of people out there, I would question, or I would ask you to sit back and question if you truly think that people are just in it for money, and if you think that it's not fair that you're not able to get your first edition Charizards at a reasonable price, or your Lugias at a reasonable price, or vintage booster boxes at a reasonable price. I would ask you, where were you in 2016? Where were you in 2017? Because I was buying up base set unlimited booster boxes for about $800 to $1,000 back in 2016, 2017. And I'll tell you right now, it was not easy to resell those up until, very, very recently. Even base set unlimited Charizards, even first edition Charizards in PSA 9s, especially PSA 9s, but even PSA 10s, they were not an easy product to move back in 2016, 2017. And so to say that it's not fair is kind of analogous to saying, well, it's not fair that I wasn't able to, or that I'm not able to purchase Tesla stock. It's not fair that I'm not able to purchase it at $10 a share anymore, or Amazon, or what have you. That's just the way markets are. And I think coming from somebody that has a strong background in the financial world and in markets in general, that's something that I understand. Like, in the beginning, the people that take the risks, you know, the SM Pratts, the King Pokemons, the people that have been pushing this stuff for years and years and years, they were taking all of the risk. And it just so happens that they're now reaping the reward of the market actually having some substance to it. Whereas it could have been just the opposite. Pokemon could have gone the way of the Beanie Babies, and they would have been sitting on a massive inventory of cards and sealed products.
Yeah.
So I think that that's something that people really need to reflect upon is, yes, there's a, you know, and this is speaking predominantly for vintage. Yes, you know, it's unfortunate that not everybody out there can have the first edition Charizard or, you know, many of these cards or sealed booster boxes. But that is just how markets operate. The people that are the early adopters, they take all the risk, but they also suffer the consequences of that, of maybe the added rewards, or on the flip side, they tank. And you know, that's, like I said, for everyone out there that is griping about it, I would ask you to I would say, well, where were you back then? Where were you in 2016, 17, 18? Did you just come back into the hobby in the last year and expect that you were going to be able to, you know, buy these products at, you know, what they were 3 or 4 years ago? So that's definitely something to consider. And, you know, the other thing is, you know, when you're talking about, you know, modern product, that was the other big thing in that video, was modern product and, you know, the lack of it. Well, guess what? There was also another product that was in very short supply on store shelves: toilet paper and paper towels and canned food, like things that have a lot more inherent value to them than Pokemon cards. And what I'm getting at here is that we're in a pandemic. Yes, we're getting out of the pandemic and things are starting to go back to normal. But, you know, you saw that across the board with various different things. You know, things that are very essential commodities, and things like Pokemon, which are, you know, non-essential commodities. So it's just an interesting time in which we're in, and there's limited supply, there's limited manpower, there's limited printing power, and you're just going to see that. It just so happens that, you know, there was this confluence of factors where people rushed into Pokemon. There was this massive interest in Pokemon, but yet we were still in a pandemic where the supply wasn't able to be pushed out there. So to me, that has very, very little to do with, you know, influencer propaganda or anything of that sort. And I think it has a lot more to do with the time in which we're in. Here's the other thing to consider. You can go out there. I don't know about you, Jules, but I could go out there right now and I could buy up about as much Darkness Ablaze as I want to. I could go out there and probably with Champion's Path as well. I can buy up a ton of Champion's Path right now. Or
secondary market or straight to retail?
Straight to retail. My card shops are completely stocked with those products. Vivid Voltage, still a little bit limited there, especially with things like booster boxes. But I mean, basically everything prior to that, again, everyone's neck of the woods is probably going to be a little bit different, but I am fully stocked no matter where I go for that type of stuff. So yeah, what do you think about all of that?
I think to Matt's point too, the hand sanitizer, that was good. The toilet paper and the hand sanitizer gone off the shelves, guys. Get into your Targets, Walmarts, whatever the case is. Those things were dry. They Jake also and Matt feel what you were feeling too, right? Like at the end, like, listen, I haven't shied back from it. I've told you off camera as well, whatever. I'm sour. Of course I'm sour, but I understand what it is. It sucks. Yeah, of course it sucks, guys. Yes, we missed it. You missed the boat. But to your point, where were we in 2012? Why did we not stay from 2002? Why did we get out? There's so many things, so many factors out there that influence your personal decisions to get out of Pokemon number one or to get back in a certain year, whatever the case is. 2019, 2020 ended up being that time where a lot of people decided to come back in. Mm-hmm. And yes, a lot of people missed out on stuff. I missed out on a bunch of stuff, right? And as much as it sucks, it is what it is at this point, right? The ship has sailed. Again, comic books, same thing. Like I like to bring it back to comic books most of the time too. It's all been done in the past. We've seen this happen in the 90s especially. Mm-hmm. Things happen. It is what it is. People lose out. A lot of people make money, whatever the case is, then it's good for them. Early adopters, right? So they stuck it out, to your point too, right? They said, we believe in it. We're going to hold on to the product, whatever the case is. Back in 2016, like you said, $1,000 base set booster box. If only I got back in at 2016 for 4 months. I didn't go back into it because the comics were taking over. But if I would have known, I would have bought a base set booster box for sure for $1,000, right? So there's too many factors. The only thing that I'm kind of it's very strong on the monetary aspect now. Every thumbnail, every title has a $25,000 this, or a $6,000 that, or a $7,000. Most of the population does not have that money to be spent on collectibles and all that stuff. So I guess to the 95% of the population that's watching, basically, to them, they're like, or to a lot of people, I guess, it's like pushing the monetary, right? All the time. Like, can we just make a video of, look at my collection. I love my collection. It's so fun, and not say anything about money. Like even when you open up packs now, right? What do? They put the price of the card up on the screen so that people know how much the card is. Why? I don't, my channel does not have any prices because number one, I'm not going to look because the prices change all the time. So it doesn't make any sense for me to go look a week before when I edit my videos at the prices, but I don't care. I don't care what the value of the card is because I just want to open it. I don't care if I look at the card. Is it a PSA 8, a 9, a 10? Who cares? Whatever the case. But to me, the intrinsic value of the card is me opening the card, the experience of it, not how much the value of it is. Yeah. Later on down the line, if it has value, then great, awesome. But let's take a look. What do we got here for questions?
It's a good point. Matt Garrett is saying another $1,400. Now, this is for the U.S., but another $1,400 stimulus money coming this weekend. What are our thoughts on that? Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before. More money being pumped into the economy. It's what we saw the first time around, where practically the whole world was receiving stimulus, and guess what? People are going to want to go out and spend that stimulus. It's not like when we were in 2008, 2009 and the government provided stimulus, in that people weren't sure when we were actually going to get out of this recession. People know now, like vaccines are being produced in massive quantities now. I know here in the United States, they're saying that by May, there should be a vaccine available for every adult out there. So we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, whereas back in 2008, 2009, we had no idea when all of this was going to end. So people are getting this money and they're saying, well, I still can't go on vacation. I still can't do some of the things that I want to. Well, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and I really wanted this card, or I've got $1,400 and I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy a booster box, or I'm going to get my entire collection graded through PSA, CGC, Beckett. And they're just wanting to have fun. So I think, Matt, that the stimulus is only going to add to, I wouldn't necessarily say that it'll push prices higher. I don't think it'll do that, but I think that you'll see even more demand. There'll be more people trying to acquire products that are out there on the open market, and maybe products that have been sitting for a good amount of time just because the capital wasn't there for the vast majority of people. I think with this round of stimulus, you'll start to see many of those products being scooped up, and probably undervalued products as well. I've been talking a lot about, just how undervalued I think CGCs are in comparison to PSA equivalents and the discounts that those are going for. I think you're going to see a lot of CGC cards get scooped up. I think you're going to see a lot of cards coming onto the market as more and more people are having their cards graded through CGC. So that's kind of my take. What do you think, Jules?
Well, the stimulus here has pretty much never ended. They just renamed it something different and continued on with it. If I'm not mistaken, in Canada, we've been getting $500 a week from the beginning, pretty much. So, but correct. So that's what I just can't seem to wrap my head around. This stimulus check is supposed to help people pay for 1, rent, 2, food, 3, their children, for providing the funds necessary to take care of your family, to take care of yourself as a human being, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of regulations is there? Because here in Canada, if you still had a job, you could have applied for it. However, they're taking it back at the end of the day, right? So you're gonna pay it back no matter what. So what I'm trying to understand is these people getting the $400 now, the stimulus check. How much extra money do you have per month so that you can actually put it towards Pokemon cards? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but $1,400 to pay a mortgage or rent or food or taking care of kids, that goes very quickly. I don't know about you, but how much extra money from the stimulus is there?
Yeah, so I don't know how it is in Canada, but here in the United States, we also, as part of what they called the CARES Act, they basically had periods where there was forbearance periods where people didn't have to pay the mortgage on their homes. There was also rental forbearance where landlords could not evict renters from their, from their apartments or from their homes for this moratorium. And so people have essentially said, okay, well, I don't have to pay rent during this time. I don't have to, pay my mortgage during this time. I mean, eventually you do. Eventually you have to pay it back. But I think a lot of people just kind of kicking the can down the road, so to speak, and then, kind of worrying about it later on. So you've got that pushed off. And then you've got, your just kind of your regular bills. I know that, through things like unemployment, there's still a lot of people that are earning more on unemployment than they were in their actual jobs. So, they're actually received a pay raise through unemployment. And then on top of that, various rounds of stimulus checks. So again, it's not like other recessions in the past where, yes, there was stimulus, but people were still obligated to pay their mortgage, still obligated to pay their rent, all of their various bills. There was just a little bit of a stimulus there to kind of help them along.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because, and I think that's the reason being that the government is doing it, is because they do see the end in sight. You know what I mean? They see the end in sight, and so they're saying, well, let's just get people through it over these next few months, and then we can just go back to some semblance of normalcy. Because in a lot of ways, this, not that necessarily the last recession were people's fault, but it was like the fault of, you had the market crash due to people over leveraging themselves on homes and not being able to pay for their mortgages, and the housing crash. Same thing with the .com bubble. And now it's just strictly due to an actual, virus, an actual pandemic caused recession. So I think that has something to do with it.
I understand at least now what kind of, I guess at the end of the day, I could have taken it as well. But I work at the bank too, and we offered those deferrals of mortgage payments up to 6 months and so on and so forth for clients. So to that aspect, the government decided to make that announcement as well in terms of helping the people out. So yes, so I get that. If I wanted to take the $2,000 a month, I guess I could have taken it because I qualified for sure in terms of, did you make $5,000 last year? The answer was yes. I could have pretty much got the money, but you kind of had to fill in certain criteria in terms of, did you find work? Did you not find work? Are you still up? So it also goes in terms of how many people are lying maybe to those questions, especially in Canada here. I don't know about the States if you guys need to do that for the unemployment and so on and so forth. But I guess if I would have got an extra $2,000 a month, let me tell you, I would have had a whole lot of hoo-ha money flying around, putting me in the money guns, just spraying them around. So I guess I would have been able to buy a lot more Pokemon with that cash. So now I guess I understand all that that aspect of it. It's crazy. It's great. Generational debt now for years and years and years to come for everybody. It's unfortunate. Like,
well, and
it's
I
sad, but
also,
you have to be done.
because of that, because many people are feeling that, in that there's a lack of trust in the traditional financial markets. There's a lack of trust in banking. There's a lack of trust in all of these things, in companies, in being able to keep your job at companies that people used to see as a secure place to work, a place that they could start at and retire at. And it's just not the case anymore. And so now you're seeing this influx of people investing in alternative assets, collectibles, cryptocurrency, NFTs, which those still free. I don't even want to get started on that, because I'll get down a huge rabbit hole, which is crazy. It's just absolutely insane. But it's people exploring all of these alternatives because they're seeing just how feeble and unstable the foundation of many of our traditional markets have been. I mean, one of the other ones, I mean, it's been great for me, but is real estate, and it's just been fantastic during this time. So, there's markets that, they go through those ebbs and flows, but that, again, I think the traditional financial markets, the stocks, the bonds, the mutual funds, the, fixed income, people are starting, their trust in those are starting to waver. And so they're exploring things, and Pokemon is one of those. Pokemon is proven to be recession proof.
Is it? Well, now, yeah, we'll call it now. But when it had its slump, I don't know, 2008, was it hot? Probably sucked the bag just like everything else did back in that day, probably.
Pokemon?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're just, back then, well, that was during the slump of Pokemon too. There was just not a whole lot of notoriety going on with Pokemon, and they really weren't producing a whole lot of stuff, and there wasn't much popularity in that realm. And which, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? You know what I mean? It was still not too long after its initial release, and it went through its boom, and then it kind of phased out, and that's kind of what you see with collectibles. That's what you see in, like, this kind of gaming and this arena, is that it has its boom, and then it phases out, and then sometime down the road it has that resurgence. Yeah, and that's really what we're seeing right now. But Jake's saying that Matt's he and his wife working 40 hours a week this whole time. Then I feel like that's how most people are. Jules, myself, it's never stopped. It's never stopped. If anything, I know for me, if anything, it's just gotten even busier during this time.
Yeah. I just do overtime every day now, basically.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's so many things to do at work. It's crazy.
Yeah. Matt's got a question here. He says, thoughts on Vivid Voltage as a very good hold set due to the amazing rares, especially since there are only 3 in the new shiny set. Yeah, I think I loved Vivid Voltage, to be honest with you. It was a great set, and I loved the amazing rares. I was talking with somebody today, and somebody that I'm working with in the consulting sessions, and I was telling them, I think 5-10 years from now, when we look back on these sets, it's not going to be the full art cards. It's not going to be, in my opinion, even the rainbow rare cards. It's going to be those amazing rare cards that people are going to really want. I loved them, and having that complete set from Vivid Voltage was great. They picked some awesome Pokemon. What was shiny, with Shining Fates, you had the 3 legendaries, the Reshiram, the Kyogre, and the Groudon from Shining Fates. Which
was it?
Am I mistaken?
It was Shining Fates now you're talking about?
Yeah, it was Shining Fates. Yeah.
Yveltal, Reshiram, and Kyogre. Yeah.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's right. I the reason I got mixed up on that is I was actually looking at one of those it was the old Diamond and Pearl collection boxes today, and then it had those Pokemon on it, which those are actually a steal right now for anybody that's looking to try to sweep up something. But yeah, I think Vivid Voltage is great. I think those amazing rares are fantastic, and I think, and also on top of that, that it didn't have a Charizard. It wasn't like there was just this Charizard that held everything together, like Champion's Path with the 2 Charizards, and that Pikachu, that card is tough to get. I don't know how much you've opened from Vivid Voltage, Jules, but I opened the equivalent of about 4 booster boxes. No Pikachu.
I didn't open that. I was lucky enough to get what I got in terms of 2 ETBs, I think, a booster box, and a couple of little other boxes here and there. So I maybe opened up, I don't know, 75 packs. So that's definitely not enough to open a Pikachu unless you're super lucky. But to your point before, best part of it for me, Vivid Voltage, was no Charizard. Thank you very much. I love it. I don't need to me personally, I don't need a Charizard in every single set. It ends up being the chase card all the time. I find it just redundant. Again, we talked about this on the podcast a couple of months back. Take the Charizard, change the color, throw a couple of splashes of shiny, gold, diamonds, whatever you want to do, and boom, it's an instant sellout. I just want them to portray other Pokemon other than Charizard sometimes. I see that it's always the same thing for me. It's kind of boring, but it is.
Yeah.
What it is.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that, again, Pokemon is seeing how popular that Pokemon is, and how, again, hype does play into some of these things. But then again, through my conversations with people like Omnipoke, I start to realize like why certain cards, just strange cards and sets are really popular and are a little more valuable, and it's because the competitive players, that's what they're seeking out. Those are the cards that they want for their decks. And this brings me to the point again of like, I feel like these 3 factors, or these 3 archetypes in the hobby: your investors, your collectors, and your competitive players. Like, you need all of them for the hobby to operate, so well. You need it to create this foundation for the hobby. And I think there's just a schism right now, such a chasm between people where, and I feel like sometimes it's just the day and age in which we live, in that you've got to try to create like adversity. You've got to try to create that separation, and no matter what it is, I mean, you see it in everything nowadays. and I feel like that's what gets the clicks. That's what gets the clicks, is the animosity, the adversity, and
exactly,
people,
the negativity kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I, to be honest with you, I never saw it that way. I mean, like I said, I've been in this since 2016, back when it was tough to push. Believe it or not, guys, it was tough to push base set unlimited, and I wish it was even tougher so that I still had them. Because I was thinking, like I said, the biggest sell that I had was I had a base set unlimited booster box that I had purchased for around $1,000, and I sold that for, I believe it was $7,000, and this was like in late 2018, maybe early 2019, and I thought that's it, man. That's it. That's as high as it's going. I've made
that's the peak.
That's the peak. And little did I know. But I mean, other than that, it was maybe buying it for, $1,200, $1,300, $1,500, and maybe selling for $2,000. Maybe you get a $500 profit, which I thought, again, it was good. But I mean, to be able to have held on to those up till now, again, like, that's the market. Like, I talk about it now because it's kind of funny to talk about, but I'm not out there complaining that I still can't purchase base set unlimited booster boxes at that price, because I understand how the markets operate.
Take away the pandemic, Pokemon is not where we see it right now, not even close. Pokemon is still what it was at. Very smooth, very just trickling along slowly, very stable. Just a stable increase, very slight, nothing exponential. So it was a perfect storm for Pokemon, I guess, when it comes to adding value. It was great. For them as a business, my God, can you ask for more? Yes, we're gonna take away all the facts that they cannot produce enough. They want to be able to produce for everybody. People are starting to send them Twitter messages, and they're on them for the supply shortages and so on and so forth. But besides that, overall, Pokemon as a business, to me, I think that they flourished over this time, and that's why they got even that massive spike. Because take away the pandemic, and Pokemon is not doing what it's doing right now, not even close. Right?
Yeah.
Do you agree with me on that, or?
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. I think that we were starting to see the makings of this back in late 2019 with Hidden Fates. I think that got a lot of people's attention. And I think that more people were becoming familiar or more familiarized with Pokemon through YouTube, you know, watching people like Leonhardt, Real Breaking Nate, some Unlisted Leaf, some of the bigger YouTubers. And they were becoming... more people were coming back into the hobby and finding out about that. And I think, again, that's just a confluence of factor where less and less people are spending time on cable networks, on regular television. A lot of people's attention is being directed towards YouTube. And I mean, that's where I found out about it. I remember, I will give everybody the insight here, exactly how the origin story started. I was sitting in my office back in 2016. I was still a financial advisor. I was sitting in my office. I had a little bit of downtime, and I was just perusing, you know, on YouTube. And I believe it was either Gem Mint Pokemon or Primetime Pokemon. Somehow it came across my feed, and I think it was because back then, Pokemon the anime, I used to watch the original series. I'd go on YouTube, and you had to watch like 50 clips to watch an entire episode. And so I would do that, you know, I'd go on and I would watch, you know, and it would just play back. And somehow that came across my feed. And I remember they were opening up a legendary collection booster box. And I was like, wow, like, I can't believe that this is still out there. And it immediately, when I saw that, it brought back that wave of nostalgia, just as we all talk about, brought back that wave of nostalgia. And I was like, I need to see if there's some of this stuff still out there. And that's when I hopped on to eBay and I started learning about PSA and grading and all of these different things. I was watching, I learned about PSA grading through Gem Mint Pokemon. And that's how I learned to put the little tabs on the sleeves of the card, so make it easier. I guess that's all gone by the wayside now, but you know, that's where it started for me, and that just completely got me immersed back into the hobby. And I think that's how it is for a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's and then the pandemic exacerbated that, because then people were at home, they were spending more time on their phones, on their electronics, their devices. And same thing, just perusing through YouTube, and more of those videos became, you know, in the popular feeds, and more people found out about it.
So, yes, 2016, like you said, you had that bit of downtime. That video popped up. I got back into it in 2016 for a short stint, and again, YouTube popped up. If I'm not mistaken, it was a Leonhardt video. I watched a Leonhardt video. I'm like, wow, this is still existing. I'm like, this is cool. So I started looking back into it, and then I stopped. But think of Matt had a good question, right? He said it out to me. He said, even with the Logan Paul box break. Well, to me, my opinion, Logan Paul would have never got into Pokemon if the pandemic didn't happen. Yes, Logan Paul likes Pokemon. He has a Squirtle tattoo on him. But he got into the box breaking thing or whatever because of what was happening in the industry because of the pandemic. Again, that's my opinion. I don't think Logan Paul would have wasted his time doing it. There was no money in it to be made, if you wanna put it in those terms. So to me, he would have never been even a player, not even close to what's happening right now if the pandemic never happened.
Yeah.
So,
no, I totally agree with you. He you know, and that's one of the reasons why he has become such a massive YouTube star, is he has always capitalized on the biggest trend at that time.
Exactly.
And he gets his name out there, and it was no different here. I guarantee he probably has an agent that he works with, and his agent was probably telling him, this is a huge opportunity for you. Huge opportunity. Yep. And so he capitalized on it. can you necessarily blame the guy? I mean, I don't know.
No.
You know, is he truly into Pokemon? Is he truly not into Pokemon? I have no idea. But from a business standpoint, he's trying to grow his brand. He's trying to grow his image and things like that. You know, it was a great opportunity for him. He has a massive platform.
For sure.
And, you know, and on top of this is the thing that not a lot of people talk about. It's not like I'm a Logan Paul fan or anything, but they raised a lot of money from that first box break that went to a good charity.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's not like
The
all
second
of this
one,
stuff.
not as much.
Not so
The
much.
second
I
one
think
was all business.
all business,
the
and it
second
was
one.
mainly like crypto people that were buying into that box
Yes,
break.
exactly.
Which we've talked about that before. But again, you know, can you blame those people either? They're trying to get exposure. They're trying to get notoriety. They're trying to grow their business. And being, you know, a business guy and being from a business background, I understand that to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't agree with is the things like scalping. Like that, I just flat out do not agree with. Like, you know, it's the same thing. Like you had toilet paper scalpers, you had paper towel scalpers, you had people going out and hoarding up on these products. Part of it was probably due to their panic and their anxieties, but at the same time, like it wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary, and just like, you know, Pokemon, people going out and buying up hordes of these products, it's probably going to come back to bite them in the end anyways when we go back to normalcy, and then Pokemon starts reprinting a lot of these products that they've been hoarding up on. And unless they decide to hold them for the long term, guess what? Their investments are going to tank. And that's when you're going to see a lot of people flee the market. And I will be interested to see what people are saying a year from now, if there's still these same sentiments out there of people saying it's not fair, I wish that I could get products cheaper. What if the prices do go down? What are people going to do? What is the zeitgeist going to be at that point? Is it going to be, well, see, now I told you that the Pokemon market was going to go down, and then people flee, and then it's, you know, it's you and me left here again. You know,
I don't care. I'll do it.
Exactly.
Take it.
Exactly. Like I'm still gonna be here. You're still gonna be here. But you know, where are all those people going to? You know, where are they gonna be?
I wish that there could be like a Scalpers Anonymous hotline. Like you dial it in, doot, 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 and just be like, or there's like a Discord chat or something with like every single scalper in the world, you know, and just like, okay, boys, we got the Walmart, we got the MJ Holdings Company stocking Target and Walmart right now. This is the truck number. Go. And I would just love to see these people's faces in a year from now, because at the end of the day, we're never gonna know, right? Because okay, yeah, you can post a picture with 17 or 70 ETBs in one photo, or whatever the case is, but we'll never know who the true scalpers are, basically. So it's part of the game. You got to deal with it. You got to live with it. It sucks, but it is what it is. I would love to see their faces if they don't get out in time, because let's be real here. It cannot keep going exponentially as it's been doing for the next 3, 4, 5 years. It's impossible. As soon as supply comes back, there's going to be a rectification.
We're already starting to see a slowdown. You're not seeing near the price spikes that you were before, you know. And you know, and I have to say, I'll say it right here. I was actually expecting much more of a price spike after Logan Paul did his box break, and I was wrong. I mean, we really haven't seen it. Prices have stayed relatively stable. There's been certain segments of the market that have gone up, but for the most part, the market has remained relatively stable. So I will be the first to admit that I was wrong in thinking that it would have, you know, such a quick spike in price. Now, the trickle down effects or the long-term effects of that, I think it could still happen. Leonhardt's planning another first edition box break. Logan Paul's going to do more. We still have other events for the 25th anniversary. So there's all of these things that are going to continue to happen that I think are going to continue to push prices up, but it's just not going to be at the rapidity that it was in the past. But I got to give a big shout out here to Adelina's Adventures. Thank you so much for joining that Pokemon Champion membership. And Let's see, Jules. What questions we got rolling in here? Any juicy ones you've seen? Matt Garrett says, "What's your guy's all-time favorite Pokemon?" Well, I think you can tell Jules from his background there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. My favorite card to collect is Alakazam, like I said on the podcast too. And my favorite Pokemon though is Venusaur. But my favorite card to collect, I don't know what it is. I think it's the Psychic type, the purples on the cards. To me, I don't know, it gets me all the time, and I just chose Alakazam, and that was my way to go.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your favorite card?
Well,
I think I know, but
yeah. Well, like I said before, Jules and I have that strong psychic connection because, my favorite Pokemon and my favorite Pokemon card to collect is Mewtwo. I think I've told people before, I just love the background on Mewtwo. I love his origin story. I love how, he's kind of trying to find his place in the world. I love that kind of that hero's kind of mentality, that hero's journey type of thing. So yeah, Mewtwo is my favorite Pokemon and my favorite one to collect as well. The problem is that Mewtwo's are very expensive.
Yeah.
They're very expensive.
Exactly.
I mean, luckily I'm not a Charizard collector. That'd be even worse. But Mewtwo's, they're pretty expensive. So yeah, Alakazam's right up there though. He's not exactly the cheapest, especially when you get back into WotC.
It's not bad. I've been looking at some of the prices. It's up there, but nothing compared to the Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard. Or I think Mewtwo is more expensive too than Alakazam for sure. But Matt's guy was Blastoise, right? It's great, man. Hydro Pump. Everybody loved that Hydro Pump. Boom, boom, boom in the game. How awesome was that sound when he used to activate that Hydro Pump? It was the best. I loved it. Yeah. I loved it.
what I love to do sometimes too is go on YouTube and watch they'll show you like the various attacks throughout the years in all of the different games and how they changed. That's pretty cool to see it from original Red and Blue up to Sword and Shield, or even back to Sun and Moon. It's pretty fun to watch that.
So much more realistic now, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't play the new stuff. I only play the old stuff. But I can imagine.
Well, I'm kind of the same way. I'm more of a retro gamer, but let's see what else we got. Matt says he got called a scalper on Reddit, and I was like, I would have to sell something to be that. Very true.
Yeah, that's true. I can't sell anything. I'm so bad at selling. It's ridiculous. I can't. Everything is to heart. I just love everything that I collect. It's ridiculous.
Jake from Palatown, I know he's a big Celebi fan. That's a really cool Pokemon as well. I like Celebi. I started to really enjoy Celebi after that fourth movie. I think it's Pokemon Forever. I think was the first feature of Celebi. So that's cool. Celebi's usually not that cheap either. Matt Garrett's asking, have I got a Switch yet? Nope. No Switch. No Switch. Dude, I would love to, but I literally have no time. I have no time. It's usually, during the day I'm off, I'm doing my thing, working. And then in the mornings, with my schedule now, in the mornings I've been doing consulting sessions, and then on Tuesday and Thursday mornings and evenings. And then, it's making a video, a few videos a week, doing the podcast. And it's just there's no time. There is no time.
Yeah,
outside of that, it's spending time with my family, and that's about it. But maybe one of these days when
everybody wants to play with you. See, can you even play online? I don't even know anything about Nintendo, especially now stuff. I'm not really out of it.
Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't even gotten. I'm still trying to learn streaming, just talking to people, let alone actually firing up games on it. So, yeah, we'll cross that road sometime later in the future.
That's it. Oh Lord.
So then we got another one here. Jake's talking about Pokemon Snap 2. I think that'll be fun. I think it'll have a very nostalgic vibe for people. It seems pretty simple. It seems very simple, just like the first one. I think there's a little bit more of a premise to it, a little bit more of gameplay rather than just going around and taking pictures. But I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a nice, simple game, something that young kids can get in on as well, have fun with that. I'm disappointed that we don't have those Blockbusters anymore that I can go to print out my pictures. But I'm sure now you can probably do it right
Netflix.
from your phone. Yeah, Netflix.
Imagine Netflix collaboration with Pokemon Snap on Netflix, and you can use your, I don't know what, maybe your TV or something. Or,
yeah.
Well, I don't know. That would be crazy.
That would
Take
that would
pictures
be
and
fun.
stuff.
I remember they did an episode or a series with Bear Grylls that was kind of like that. Was like Man vs. Wild, and it was like interactive, and you could like choose: do I rappel down this cliff or do I cross the raging river?
I saw something like that. It's true. I remember seeing something like that.
Yeah. So I guess it could be possible. You
never know.
Matt says, what are your thoughts on Pokemon Go? I started playing a little bit like when it first came out, but I'll be honest, man, I am not a big gamer. And I know that sounds so strange coming from somebody that, is so engrossed in Pokemon, but mine's mainly from like the collectible standpoint. I've always liked the anime as well. And just like yourself, I like to play the old games. I like to play Red, Blue, Gold, Silver, Crystal, even Ruby, Sapphire. But outside of that, I just never really got into Pokemon Go. Played it for a short stint.
While I got back into collecting the cards, Pokemon Go was huge. It had just came out, I think, or within the couple of months that it had come out, I started collecting the cards again. And I remember people walking into the comic book store where I bought my cards, looking for, apparently, his location was very ideal for certain Pokemon. And people would walk in, do a couple of turns of the comic book boxes that were in the store, catch what they had to catch and leave. And I'm like, what are these people doing? And then I slowly got to understand, and I would ask people, what are you guys doing here? If you're, are you here for the comics? Are you here for, what are you doing? It's like, no, we're playing Pokemon Go. And I came to a crossroads in my life, and I was like, if I download this game on my phone, number one, I have a very addictive personality when it comes to certain things. So I said, if I start playing this game, I am done. I will have no time to do anything else. I'm going to just be looking for all these crazy Pokemon. I will be addicted to it, and it's over. So I said, I'm not downloading it. Keep away from it. So I decided not to play it. But let me tell you, I would see people playing it, and I would look at some of their phones, and I would walk with them or whatever the case is. And thank God I decided to stay away, because it would have been bad. It would have been bad.
Well, and that's the nice thing about the old games is that if you're playing on the Game Boy, original Game Boy Color, even Game Boy Advance, man, once the lights go out, you're done. You can't see that screen at all. Unless you had that little... the little light. I had that too, that little connector where you could you have your little top down light. That's so funny. But yeah, that was it for me. But very, very short stint with Pokemon Go. Let's see. Matt says, any updates on more inventory on your shop? Anything cool to be looking out for? There's going to be a lot more graded cards coming onto the store, hopefully soon. You guys know how crazy it is right now, but I literally have about 25,000. I know, again, we're getting into values here, but just to give you guys a scope, about $25,000 worth of cards I'm waiting to get back. So, and it's mainly Wizards of the Coast cards. So those will be hitting pretty soon. Outside of that, I'm still considering maybe at some point trying to get my reseller's permit again, and trying to work with a distributor to try to get newer products on store shelves as well, so that people can purchase those at MSRP. But we'll see. I know distributors are really, really stringent right now with working with new people, just based upon everything, such limited allocations. So that's something that I've been considering. Outside of that, some sealed product, probably with this recent box opening for Black and White. If we don't sell out of all of the packs, for that. Then I'll be posting the sealed packs on the website as well. They will go for a higher amount than what you'll get by purchasing into the box break and having your pack open live. They will be more expensive, but should it not sell out, then those packs will be available, sealed packs, on the website. And I'll probably just continue to do that for all of the box breaks, is whatever doesn't sell out. I'll either open it up when people are buying into the box openings so that they can choose to have their pack opened or sealed at the different price points, or whatever doesn't sell out, whatever is not open, those sealed packs will just be posted onto the store as well. So hopefully getting more stuff out there. It's just, like I said, it's been so crazy right now, and even since the store has been opened, there's been a lot of sales, a lot of people that have bought what I had in there, and then balancing that out with like the consulting sessions and all that good stuff. So yeah, just be on the lookout. There should be a lot more coming onto the website here soon. And beyond that, yeah, I really want to get CGC cards out there. Like, I'm starting to become, we were talking about it before we started here, Jules, but I'm becoming more and more of a CGC proselytizer, I guess, because I'm seeing the real value in CGC. I didn't really see it early on. I thought, well, kind of a comic book grader and just trying to make their way in. But I really like the things that they do. They're cheaper, especially now that PSA has raised their prices. You basically get the former PSA prices, and you get the subgrades like you would with Beckett without the huge premiums. So I really like where they're going.
The CGC stuff basically comes out to like $17 a card if you send in 50 in a bulk submission. That's including the subgrades on there. So it's cool for sure. Again, we spoke about this off camera too. I got the email because I did business with them in the past with comics and so on. So got the email, and they increased their square footage of their facility in Sarasota by 21,000 square feet to accommodate the sports card grading now and the trading cards. Like, they're gonna have their own section now because the people were like sitting on top of each other, according to what I understood. There wasn't enough space in the plant, in the processing, and so they're getting their own specified section now in the building so that they can actually go ahead and process those better and easier, or whatever the case is. So
well, that's exciting. Cool. That's exciting. I mean, the fact that they're doing that must mean that their operations are really ramping up, and they're getting a lot of demand. So, and
they are because last I checked, also 79 business days now they're reached in terms of bulk submissions. So not even close to PSA at their 6, 7, 8 months plus, and Beckett too. But from the beginning, in the last 6 months that CGC has been really trying to push out those cards, they started off, if I'm not mistaken, on bulk submission at 30 days. You can get bulk submission back in 30 days, and they're at 79 already. Yeah. So people are definitely flocking towards CGC. There's definitely a movement towards them. And like you said, once they get their legs going in the industry, in the market, worst case scenario, you don't like the case, but that grade is actually a 7.5, send it to PSA or Beckett or whatever the case is, and you're going to get a similar grade, but you're going to get it in the PSA version, or you're going to get an 8. Or this PSA gave a 7.5. I don't even know if they give a 7.5. That's a weird number to use.
Well, but you know what's strange is sometimes I'll see that. Sometimes I'll see a half grade out there with PSA, and I think it's just really one-off situations.
Yeah, the graders, the 3 people that looked at the card couldn't come to a thing, and when they averaged the 3 of them out, I guess it gave that 0.5, so they gave the 0.5. But to CGC's aspect too, in the comics, there's 3 people looking at the book. They come with the overall grade and they give it the average on the book. So I'm guessing they're using the same type of tactics.
Well, and CGC is also using algorithm, right? They're also using computer-based grading as well, which, I've talked about this ad nauseum, but I really foresee, if CGC isn't the first to do it, eventually all grading companies moving to predominantly a algorithm or computer-based grading system. It just makes sense, right? It just makes sense. Like, you take the human error out of the equation, and if you ran that card through 10,000 times, it would come back in the exact same grade. It just seems,
especially on the centering. They're so hard. Everybody's like, wow, so hard to. But guys, at the end of the day, the centering of a card, especially in sports cards, it's so important. You want to have a perfectly centered card. So in order to get that 10, I'm not a professional grader. I have no idea what their standards are in terms of it, but you have to have 50-50, right? You can't have the 60-40 split that PSA still gives 10s on, right? If you want a perfectly centered card and you're centering grade and your card is a perfect 10, your card is a perfect 10, then you have to have the centering at a 10 as well. So I don't know.
Yeah. And Matt, we'll go ahead and finish up with this question here from Matt. He says, do you think grading will get automated in the next 5 years? If not, when? Personally, I think so. I think with the exponential growth of technology, with AI, I think it's only inevitable, right? And people are asking for it. I think, yes, there is the aspect of sending your card in to get the added value, to get the premium. There's also getting it encapsulated, getting it authenticated. But on top of that, people, I would say the third big point that people are looking for is consistency. Is strict consistency. And also that would help us in the data and the analytics of the pop reports. If you knew, hey, it doesn't matter how many times I send this card in, it's going to come back in the exact same grade, that would give us very firm pop reports. Versus, people who get a PSA 9, they crack the case open, they send it in, and they get a PSA 10, and then they don't send the PSA 9 case in. Well, guess what? Now you're showing a PSA 10 and a PSA 9 in that same card when the PSA 9 should have been taken off of the market. So that's where I think that we will have even stronger data. And I think about it from a business perspective too. That's less overhead costs, because guess what? All those employees, all those graders that you're hiring, they have a salary, they've got time off, they've got benefits, they've got all of these other things that take away, from the actual profit of the company. If you can automate everything, and it's just, you've got grading systems, computer-based systems, where really at that point, all you need is somebody to punch the cards in through the grading system and then just collect it and ship it back out to you. And that cuts down on your overhead tremendously. So I think from a business perspective, it just makes sense. It just makes
over the
sense
long
to
term.
make it. Over the long term, exactly.
Because upfront costs, computer programmers and new systems and new robotics, that's going to be a heavy investment towards CGC, PSA, Beckett, whatever cases upfront. But over the long run, like you said, no vacation, at the end of the day, humans have some sort of opinion to that card. You want as much as possible for them not to have an opinion over that card, but they will intrinsically have that deep down inside. It's human nature, and the computer will be programmed not to, technically, right? So again, the only thing it's a bit difficult, right? What do? You use a laser to see exactly if there's any print lines in the holographic, and then what about the whitening in the back? Like, how do you the system takes a picture of the card over a white background, and if more than 30% of the card has white dots on it, then it's 8 or whatever the case is. So there's a lot of stuff for them.
Well, yeah, and I am by no means a computer engineer. I struggle just to get this to get my Streamlabs to work properly half the time. So I am definitely not the one to ask. But all I can say is, if we're able to have satellites be sent out into space, if we're able to collect data from planets, if we're able to do all of these very, very sophisticated things, surely we can think of a way that we can come up with something that accurately, with 99.999% accuracy, centering, corners, print line, or what is, now I'm forgetting, centering, corners, surface, and edges. All those different things on a piece of cardboard. I think we can manage that somehow.
Oh, for sure.
So that's just kind of that is kind of our take. Matt also asked if it's automated, will it be cheaper? Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, you would think that it'd be much, much cheaper. Overhead costs go down. Your economies of scale go up, and that should make the prices much, much cheaper.
Go down.
So, all right, guys. Well, I think that is going to do it for tonight. I hope you guys that did join in this live chat, Matt, Jake from Pallet Town, and who else did we have in here? We had Adelina's Adventures, and I think that was it that joined in here tonight. But we did have other people that were watching tonight, so hopefully you guys consider maybe joining in on one of those memberships, getting your questions answered. And, like I said, hopefully this was a little bit more intimate, a little bit more one-on-one with those of you that did join in. And hopefully this just continues to grow. And Jules, I would love to have you back each time, my friend.
I would glad to be back, buddy. Glad to be back. Anytime we could have a discussion is always fun, especially with the community. What's better than that, right? Connections, it's the best.
Yep. Reminds me of the good old days, buddy. The old podcast days.
There you go.
You know what, man? At some point, I don't see that being, off the writer's block forever, in my opinion. I think at some point that's going to come back in one way or another.
There you go. I look forward to that.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for joining in tonight in this Q&A. We will see you all next time. Take care, everybody. Be safe out there.